Welcome back to the Master Your Money podcast with me, Marini Jackson, your guide to mastering credit, building wealth, and creating financial freedom. Let's dive into today's episode. All right, we are going to have an honest money conversation today. Last week, we talked about having an honest financial audit, but today, we're going to talk about something very important because most people don't have a spending problem. They have micro leaks. And micro leaks are dangerous because they don't feel dramatic. They're small, they're innocent, and we may say we deserve it. But every month they quietly drain our financial flow. And you're not broke because of one big decision, you're broke because of 27 small financial decisions. So let's talk about where our money is secretly going. Now, I've mentioned the term micro leaks, and you may ask yourself, what is a micro leak? Micro leaks are the small, recurring, unnoticed expenses that slowly erode at your cash flow, and they don't trigger panic. They don't require any type of financing, and they don't feel like real spending, but they compound, and compounding works both ways. It can work for you or against you. So, micro leak number one, buckle up, are your subscriptions. And this is the silent salary eater. And subscriptions are the most socially accepted micro leak. And these can be our streaming platforms, our Hulu, our Disney Plus, Netflix. It can be our fitness apps. It can be our cloud storage. That's something I personally have. Meal kits, premium memberships, software tools, and any type of auto ship products. And individually, the dollar amounts, they're small. They can be $7.99, $12.99, $19.99. But collectively, it can range, those micro leaks can range in total anywhere between $150 and $400 a month for many households, which can be anywhere from $1,500 to $4,800 per year that is leaking out of your home. And that money can be an emergency fund. That money can go to paying off credit card debt, putting money in an investment account, or even paying for a vacation in cash. And why they're dangerous, the micro leaks, is because they're automated. We normalize it and we say that it's only a small amount, and we emotionally justify it, saying, I use it sometimes. I watch Netflix movies sometimes. I watch Disney Plus sometimes. But if you had to manually pay for each subscription every month, would you keep it? If you had to manually pay the $7.99 a month, the $12.99 a month, the $19.99 a month, if your answer is no, that's a leak. So category number two, now I told you to buckle up, strap in a little tighter. Number two is convenience spending. So we are paying to avoid discomfort. And this is the modern tax that we're paying. Food delivery. So think of your Uber Eats, your DoorDash. I'm not sure what other food delivery services there are. Getting same-day shipping. Companies like Amazon. Getting pre-cut groceries. Instead of slicing your own fruit or vegetables, you just buy the pre-portioned ones that's already cut for you. Taking ride shares, such as Uber and Lyft, instead of planning ahead, and also paying ATM fees because you didn't go to your bank. These are common conveniences. They're not evil, but unmanaged convenience can become very, very expensive. And you're not just paying for the food, you're paying for the speed, the comfort, making sure you're not putting in as much effort, and also emotional relief. And when life becomes overwhelming, our convenience spending spikes. So I'm not sure if you've ever been at a place where you said, oh my gosh, I've had a hard day of work. I'm just going to order in. And I'm so tired, I don't feel like cooking. And you have a refrigerator full of food that you could cook in maybe 15, 20 minutes to have a nice healthy meal. You just order in something. But here's the reality. Convenience often replaces planning, and planning builds wealth. And if you're spending an extra $20 3 times a week for convenience, if you're door dashing a burger, fries, and some soda three times a week, that's about $240 a month, which is almost $3,000 a year. And that's not small. That's a strategy shift waiting to happen. What can we do differently, and what can we do with that $3,000 if we weren't paying for that convenience? So category number 3 are those small digital purchases that we make. And this is the sneakiest category. I've personally fallen victim to this as well. So this can be your in-app purchases, digital upgrades, ebooks that you didn't finish. So think of Kindle, in some cases audiobooks with Audible and other services, courses you don't complete, app add-ons, and those online impulse buys that are under $25. And they feel really harmless because there's no physical item. It's not a big transaction that you're making, right? And it doesn't really feel like you're shopping, but digital money leaves faster because it's frictionless. You just click and it's done. And no cash is physically leaving your hand, and there is no physical reminder of it. But that micro digital spending is often emotional spending that we disguise as productivity or reward. I can say for myself, I fell into this category with a subscription I had that I thought was going to give me a lot of productivity for my business. And initially it was a small fee that was being paid, and I was using it because it was small. And then, excuse me, it became an annual fee that was being paid, that I was paying because I was out of the introductory period. And honestly, I didn't end up using it. So I was paying a lot of money out of my business that could have been redirected somewhere else. And what I thought was a solution was actually me just avoiding discipline. So 4th and final category. So we talked about some micro leaks that seem really obvious, but one that may not be as obvious but hurts the most is late fees. Late fees, credit card late fees, overdraft fees, utility reconnection fees, missed payment penalties. And these late fees are not about income, they're about systems. So you missing a payment and having a $35 late fee may not seem like it's much once when you do it, but for me, a lot of times I equate different things into gas for my car. So $35 would go a long way with putting gas in my car, or having an extra $35 in my savings account, or having an extra $35 for my grocery budget. But instead of having those, I had to pay a late fee. But when you have late fees, you have to also add in the interest, the credit score impact, the stress, the compounding penalties, and potentially having a damaged business relationship with whatever company you're doing business with. Now that small mistake becomes really expensive. And those late fees are money that you get no value from. You don't get any service, no product. You're just paying a fee. You're simply giving your money away. And it's not a spending problem, like I said, but it's a structure problem. And when you automate your expenses, it fixes what your motivation forgets. Like, oh, I forgot to pay that bill. But when you automate it, have it automatically drafted out of your account, for instance, your utilities, then you don't even have to worry about it. You just have to note on your calendar and ensure that money is in the bank to cover that particular fee. And this is why micro leaks keep people stuck. And it's essentially because it doesn't create any type of urgency. You don't panic over $12.99, but you will panic over $1,200. But that repeated $12.99, that $12.99 when it's repeated 20 times become nearly $260, and repeat that for 12 months and that's over $3,100. So that money, again, could be wealth building money. It could be money to pay off a debt even. And these micro leaks, they shrink your cash flow gap, your financial stability margin, and your debt payoff speed. So go back to the previous podcast episode to learn more about those. But when you have micro leaks, they make you feel like, I should have more money than this. And you're right, you should. But it's leaking out slowly. So this is what we need to do to make sure we stop the leaks. And this is your practical reset. So last week in our honest audit, we looked at 1 month's statements. This time, what I want you to do is do 2 months, a 60-day transaction audit. We're not going to do a week. We're not going to guess at it. No, we're getting our credit card bill statements and our online, going to our banking and getting the statement there as well, our checking account, etc. And look at those 2 full months. Grab some highlighters, and I want you to highlight all of those conveniences, those recurring subscriptions, the food deliveries, the digital purchases that you made under $30, because our patterns don't lie. You may tell me, or as you're listening to this, say, I don't do that. That's not a problem I have. But look at your habits and your patterns in black and white, and those don't lie. Number 2, what you're going to do as well is you're going to install some friction, because that friction is going to create wealth. And what I mean by this is you are going to take a deep breath. Now exhale. You are going to remove your saved card from apps. So whatever card you have as the saved payment method, remove it. Turn off one-click purchasing and cancel anything you haven't used in the past 30 days. And finally, set a calendar reminder for your bills before the due date. The due dates. So we want to make spending a bit harder. 3, after you do that, this is what I want you to do. Immediately, I want you, when you cancel that subscription, let's say it's $50, immediately redirect that money into either your emergency savings, your debt payoff that you're working on, or into your investments. Otherwise, your lifestyle is going to eat it up, is going to absorb that money. So you have 3 steps of homework. Remember, you're going to do your audit, you're going to install friction, and you're also going to reallocate that that money that was leaking and going out to different areas as micro leaks. So you don't need to do dramatic financial overhaul. You just need awareness, and awareness is the first step. Now, I always say there's no condemnation. The Bible tells us there's no condemnation, excuse me, to those who are in Christ. But we need to be aware of where we are and where our money's actually going. And your money, the truth is, your money's not disappearing, it's drifting. And that drift is happening very quietly. So here's a question that I would ask you if we were sitting together live. If I reviewed your bank statements today, what would they reveal about your habits that you're pretending not to see? So let that sink in, and I'll say it again. If I reviewed your bank statements today, what would they reveal about your habits that you're pretending not to see? So I'll leave you with that today. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please like and leave comments below. And let me know any thoughts, anything you'd love for me to discuss, questions you may have. And also, if you have a friend that would appreciate this content and you'd like to be on the financial journey along with you, invite them along. Share this with them as well so that they can be winning in their finances also. If you'd like to take some further steps, please visit my website, www.virtuefinancialsolutions.org, and you'll find my coaching programs, products, and other resources that can be of great assistance to you. And finally, as we end today, remember, you don't just manage your money, you master it. Thank you.